Welcome to the Sellernomics podcast, sharing valuable tips and information in the Amazon and e-commerce space. Each week, we deliver the best interviews with some of the top Amazon personalities in the industry to help you grow your business. Today's episode is brought to you by Gatita, the global leader in FBA auditing and reimbursements. And now, here is your host, Rob Stanley.
Hey everyone, Rob Stanley here with the Sellernomics podcast. We got a great one here today. People like to sell. A lot of Amazon sellers sell in the US, and they kind of go, okay, where do I expand next to be able to bring in, more money and kind of expand their business? And usually what comes up is Europe. So one of the things that, happens is, like, when I go to start selling in Europe, what are some of the roadblocks? What are some of the things I need to do if I'm going to start selling there? So I've got Rūta from One Stop VAT coming into the show here. We're going to be talking about what to expect in the European Amazon marketplace for 2023. Hey Rūta, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, hello. Nice to see you. I'm doing good actually, and I'm waiting for our talk about the European market and all what is related with the VAT and what news and updates I can give to all the listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a great start right there. So Rūta, like I said, is with One Stop VAT, has a specialist, specializes in helping Amazon sellers expand to that European marketplace. And we want to go over, some basically, I don't want to say roadblocks, but maybe obstacles people might think are in the way. So Rūta, let's start off with, Amazon sellers that are selling in the US. They want to make that transition to selling in Europe. Is there they've done all the stuff on the Amazon side, but is there paperwork or things they need to get in place before they start making that transition from selling on Amazon US to the European marketplace?
Yes. Comparing US market and the European market, it's totally different worlds, actually. And when we talk about taxes, it's a more different world. For sure, US is, I guess, the hugest market in the world, but European market as well is one of the biggest ones. Currently, I have just double-checked the statistics. So currently, in Europe, in a year, around 300 million people are shopping online, and each year they spend around 500 million euros. So it's quite significant amounts, I guess. So European market is really the one that all these sellers, online sellers, should be interested in. What's also interesting with the European market is that each region has a bit, differences. What products are more common in one or another region. So, let's say the western part are more spending money on clothes, footwear, house electronics, like Nordic countries are more into healthcare, cosmetics, and so on. So this is kind of differences between the countries. But I guess all e-commerce, while selling on Amazon, can find the proper region for them. Each product can find their customer, if not in one country, so then in another one. When we talk about differences from US and in Europe, for sure, in US we have sales tax, and in Europe we have VAT, and 27 different countries with their systems. So I guess this is the main struggle where sellers see difficulty. But I guess the good new for all the sellers in Europe is that we have one simplified system called OSS. Maybe some e-commerce sellers have heard about it. This system actually helps sellers to be registered only in one country, and to cover taxes for all 27 countries. So this is a huge simplification for e-commerce business. And this is related with distance sales of goods only from 2021. Previously, it was used only for digital products. So European market is not so, I don't know, not so difficult to enter to. Also, for the sellers that are not based in Europe, it's even more easy to come to this market, as Amazon as a platform has more responsibilities than the seller, as the compliance part is transferred to the marketplace. So actually, the main thing that non-European business has to know in order to start sales in European market is that they only have to be registered in these countries in Europe where their stock is. And all the rest tax related matters are transferred to the platform. So this is really huge simplification for non-resident companies. When we talk about local companies, it is a bit more difficult, as for sure also VAT registrations are required in each country where the stock is. And currently Amazon has fulfillment centers, I guess, in 7 countries, as if I clearly remember. So it means that 7 registrations are mandatory at once. And usually, from our point of view, as an advisors, we advise to start the registrations before start trading, because there is no thresholds for registration. Starting from this year, all platforms in Europe yearly have to report the sales of the vendors to each European country. So platform is responsible for each seller. So that's why it's really important for each vendor to properly fill in the account. So I guess this is the main problem. What the vendors do, they do not properly fill in their accounts. The first, I guess, point is that all VAT registrations then company has to be properly updated into the system. The address of VAT registration has to exactly match the address that is stated on Amazon account. Let's say if you I have indicated while registering your account in Amazon like flat number 47, but when you have done registration in Germany, you have entered without word flat. This by Amazon, this is treated like totally different address, and you will get suspended or you will not be allowed to deliver your stock into Germany. So this is one of the main problems that the vendors face with. Another case is that new sellers do not start using tax calculation services in Amazon. This service enables Amazon to issue invoices. So if you use the service, you do not need to worry about the invoices to the customers, and as well you can receive very detailed reports each month about your sales, about taxes collected, about your liabilities. So this is really useful for each of the vendor, and if the vendor does not choose this opportunity, they have to issue the invoices and upload them into Amazon on their own. And if 15% of the sales are not covered with invoices, Amazon has a right to suspend the account. So this is really important. Also, another case where the accounts are getting suspended is when authorities are contacting marketplace. They have a right to do so in France, in Germany, in UK currently. They are contacting Amazon by requesting the sales data of one or another VAT registered company. And Amazon has to provide all the details about the sales. And if the company has not paid properly VAT, the account at once is suspended, and it can be unblocked only when the authorities issue an official letter to Amazon that, okay, all the liabilities are covered, and this vendor can do sales all over again.
Wow.
So it's really important, and it's really a huge problem when this happens, let's say at the end of the year, when the Christmas is coming and your account is suspended for almost a month, because it's not a quick process to contact with authorities, to provide proper documents, and to receive that official note or letter to Amazon that the account could be unsuspended. Let's say UK theoretically gives a timeline for 3 or 4 months, that this time can take these months in order to get that letter that your account is now clear and you can do sales once again.
Wow. So yeah, just to kind of clarify something for everybody. So VAT is value added tax. What we would probably see in the US is what sometimes referred to as the Trump tax. When you're importing goods into the United States, we have to pay that extra fee to basically get it in. So, that brings up a good point. I'm going to mention a little something, and that is, you probably don't want to ship your items into the US and then turn around and ship them to Europe, because you're going to end up paying a double tax. You're going to pay the US tax to get it in, then you're going to have to pay a VAT to get it into Europe. So what other kind of mistakes do sellers make when they're first starting out to try to sell in Europe? What are some of the common mistakes you've seen sellers make?
Mm-hmm. As you have mentioned about the customs, customs are a bit different from the whole VAT matters, but it's also related. So it's not like a problem, but we see that sellers are, missing their money. They are just wasting money on the imports. So let's say where is the problem? Let's see, business from US imports a huge amount of stock into Europe, into Germany, let's say. So of course they pay duties and import VAT at the moment of importation. And mostly new businesses do not know that if they would use their VAT registration number that they have in Germany, let's say, if we take in this example, they could reclaim that VAT while declaring the monthly VAT return. So in this case, if the seller do not provide their EORI number in Europe, that EORI number is related with customs, and their VAT number in the country of importation, they are losing that import VAT part, and they cannot reclaim it. So this is, I guess, one of the errors or mistakes that do new businesses. So our strong suggestion is that's why we strongly suggest, to get registered before your stock comes into one or another country. So in this case, it's not only compliance matter, but the matter that you can save the money.
Yeah.
Also, when we talk about the businesses that are not from European Union, also they have to know that B2B transactions, because we know that sometimes if there happens transactions for businesses, not only for final consumers. So for this sales, the seller is responsible to collect the VAT and to remit it to the authorities, not the marketplace, as for most of the sales. And I guess the another error that the sellers do, they do not properly choose the product type while listing their products. As in European Union, there is a big difference in VAT rates depending on the product that the vendor sell. Well, let's say if you're selling books or food supplements, in most of the countries it's reduced VAT rate, and if you just leave that standard one, so you are collecting much more taxes than you actually should collect. So this is also quite important note to know for all the sellers. Also, I guess a good news would be when we talk about the changes in European market, that starting from 2025, for all sellers, not only for non-European based, but also for European based sellers for B2C transactions, Amazon will be responsible for collecting taxes and for remitting them to authorities. This is coming with the new huge updates in European Union taxation. That whole new package is called VIDA. We'll see how it works in practice, but the plan is to transfer liabilities to platforms in order to collect more VAT, because currently European Union is facing with a huge gap of VAT that is not collected into the budgets. And just maybe a short educational note from my side is just for all businesses to clearly understand why VAT is so important and why it is important to be compliant, that each country collects VAT, and VAT is the tax that takes the biggest part in each country's budget. And from that money, all the country is supporting and funding the schools, new roads, hospitals, and so on. So all of us, including all the sellers, are responsible for the better life in each of the country.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, I want to talk to Rūta a little bit more about the VAT and how it is collected, or how the process is for each of those different countries over in the EU, right after this commercial break.
Today's episode is brought to you by Getida, the global leader in FBA auditing and reimbursements. Get $400 in free FBA reimbursements at getida.com/Sellernomics.
Yeah, so be sure to head on over to getida.com/Sellernomics, get that $400 in free FBA reimbursements. I got Rūta on with me talking about with One Stop VAT, and we're talking about what to expect in the European Amazon Marketplace for 2023. And we just went over a lot of information. It was absolutely amazing and great content that we need to know about. I do have a couple questions. One of them I did want to know is, does the VAT amount that you pay for each item vary from country to country? Let's say, England versus Germany or France or something like that. Does that, and then you were starting to cover a little bit about, it sounds like it's even goes down to particular items, almost like what we do in categories here in Amazon. In different categories, you're paying different fees. Maybe could you explain that just a little bit more and how that works?
Yeah, and also just a slight correction for you, as you mentioned, England. England is currently not in European Union, right?
Yeah,
but it's
you're
really,
right.
Yeah, but it's really closely connected, and the law is really close to European Union. It's almost the same everywhere. Just the sellers have to keep in mind that if you have sales between UK and Europe, this is customs related. And if we talk about the rates, yes, each country actually has different standard rates. Well, that standard is for most common products, but for sure, as I've stressed and you have mentioned as well, each seller has to very deeply analyze what type of product they are selling, if they can treat their product as a nutritional product, if they can treat their product as a book, because different country has a different description what goes into that exact category. And actually why Amazon is also a good platform, that they have a huge and really detailed guidances and the product lists with the rates, and each vendor can for sure go deep and find their product and double check what rate exactly they have to collect. Well, actually, they have to select only the type of the product, and then Amazon does everything, applies proper rates, and collects everything properly.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, a mistake. There was the whole Brexit thing, so that totally changed things. But I appreciate the answer on that, and that definitely makes sense. So speaking of, kind of, you mentioned like, hey, if you do this incorrectly, you're going to get basically suspended from Amazon. So what is that sort of process? You were saying that you have to either contact somebody who has to actually contact Amazon to get you back on. Kind of go over that a little bit more, because I think that's something that, obviously people need to be careful of, but, mistakes happen, and maybe you fill out some paperwork incorrectly, or you don't do it right and you get it suspended. Is that somewhere you have to go fill out paperwork, or you start making phone calls to people? How does that work to get kind of unsuspended if you do mess up on the VAT paperwork?
Well, yes. So for newcomers, for new business, for sure, we always advise to have a deep analysis about the market. If you're not, you do not have time or enough knowledge to go deeper there, we strongly advise to discuss with the consultants, not necessarily with us, maybe with any others, and to get for sure the proper advice, what obligations one or another business might have in exact their situation. And when we talk about that suspensions, so for sure these suspensions might be not applied if the seller knows all the rules and will be advised in advance, but if it happens, and it happens for sure, and it's quite common thing currently, so our company, One Stop VAT, helps here. So firstly, yes, each of the business receive like a note from Amazon that look, something is wrong with your account. Mostly Amazon indicates what the problem is, like your VAT is not properly filled in, VAT number is not valid in European VS system, or address does not match, or we have received a request from one or another country that you have some liabilities, so that's why the account is already suspended. So then the vendor usually has to contact the tax advisor, and then directly contact authorities, explaining what is the situation, doing changes depending what's the problem, if it's the address or any other issues. So then we are helping sellers to solve these problems. If there is a problem with liabilities, so then we go deep to analyze what exactly is the problem, with which period it is related. And then, yes, we are requesting for authorities to issue the notes to Amazon to unsuspend the account, and the authorities usually are just contacting directly Amazon, and the seller is not involved in that. They just can for sure inform Amazon that we have solved a problem, but anyways, in order the account to be unsuspended, authorities have to directly contact Amazon.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you did mention this change coming up in, I think you said 2025, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
When that goes into effect, I know it may still be a policy that they're either, is it done policy or they're working on it still? And then also just to kind of follow up with that, if this policy does go through, it kind of sounds like you could just ship it in and you don't have to worry about the VAT anymore. Could you maybe explain it a little bit more? Because I think this is something that, we're kind of doing that here when it comes to taxes in the United States. If I sell through Amazon and I don't sell in any other marketplaces or my own website, Amazon collects the taxes, pay the taxes to the States, and I'm out of it. I don't have to deal with it. Is it kind of the same as that?
Well, yes, this is only currently a proposal from VAT Commission. This is not already, finalized. The wordings and the regulations are a bit changing. This is only like a draft, and the discussions between the Commission and each country is going. But this is mostly related with a bit other changes. But what is related with the platform, I guess it's almost finalized, and yes, this is the decision that marketplace should act something like it happens in US, that platform Amazon has the liability to properly collect and remit taxes to each of the authorities, but it is related only with B2C transactions. So if there will be any B2B transactions, so then this is the responsibility of the seller. But as we all know, the most sales what goes via Amazon is related with the B2C. And I guess the sellers can, choose not to sell to businesses. I guess there is such an option. So I guess there will be something that business can think about. And the only liabilities that they have if they will import from third countries into Europe the stock. So there will be import VAT liabilities that the businesses will have.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. So what is there any other things coming up, changes or possible, enhancements that are going to help some of these Amazon sellers besides that one you were just kind of mentioning, but it sounds like that's not 100% done deal. What other things are you seeing coming up that maybe will benefit some of these Amazon sellers when looking to start selling on in the EU and Europe?
This is the main change that is coming. Another simplification that the sellers have if they are registered for that OSS system, that simplification system that I've mentioned before. Currently, the businesses are not required to issue invoices. So this is also a huge simplification for the companies if it's related with B2C sales. So European Union is going to e-invoicing and the e-reporting, but this will not be so much related with Amazon sellers. So I guess nothing more is coming that is related for Amazon or any other platform sellers. The main point is that much less responsibilities from the seller's part. And the reason why Commission has decided to do these changes is the practice that they collect from Canada. Mostly Canada is used. I'm not sure why, because Canada also has the same approach as in US, that marketplace is responsible to collect taxes. And as I've mentioned, the European Union is facing with a huge VAT fraud and has a VAT gap that is not collected. So the main purpose is to collect more taxes and to reduce the fraud in, let's say, collecting taxes but not remitting them to authorities. So, to control huge marketplaces is much easier than to control millions of sellers and to double check them if they are paying correctly and if that business is still working and the companies still exist. So this is the main purpose of these changes.
Absolutely. So we're going to take one last commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk to Rūta more about one-stop VAT and how they can help you out when you're trying to transition into selling into the Amazon European marketplace right after this.
Did you know that Amazon probably owes you money for FBA reimbursements? Get $400 in free FBA reimbursements at Getita.com/Sellernomics.
Yeah, so be sure to head on over to Getita.com/Sellernomics, get that $400 FBA refunds. I'm talking to Rūta from One Stop VAT, and she just gave us a whole lot of information that's absolutely amazing on, Amazon sellers looking to kind of transition to selling in that European marketplace and some of the issues you're going to deal with and some of the new stuff coming up that'll actually make it a lot easier to sell over there. So Rūta, tell us a little bit about yourself, and also be sure to mention One Stop VAT and what kind of services and you guys offer for these Amazon sellers.
As you all see, and that Rob has represented, I'm Rūta. I am currently working few years, more than 4 years, in One Stop VAT. I am focusing exactly on these e-commerce sellers that are doing sales with physical products in not only European market, but as well in US, in Canada, in Asian markets. Also, we are covering the businesses that do sales of digital products. So not only the ones that do sales of the goods. So the knowledge is quite broad, and the clients that we have are really international ones, from the smallest one from the Lithuania, from where our company is established, and going to the huge global companies that are working internationally and are well-known names all over the world. How One Stop VAT can help to e-commerce businesses is to help from the very beginning. Let's say we are discussing actually with all the new businesses. They are coming to us and saying that we have a plan to do this and that, to sell directly from website or via marketplace. So what are your suggestions? What obligations do you see? What risks might happen? Let's say we do not want to start at once in all the Europe. We want to start partially. So part of our job is the consultancy. Then for sure to do the registrations anywhere in the world where the sellers need. Actually, more and more businesses from Europe are starting the business with Amazon in Asia, in Arab Emirates, in Turkey. Also going really quickly, and a lot of business are going to US and to Canada market. Next step and the services that we provide is the reporting of VAT, of sales tax, of GST anywhere in the world. And also, if there is such a need, we intermediate in the audits or help with any suspensions from the marketplaces. We can help to solve any problem that happened in one or another country, because we are facing with a lot of different clients that have totally different scenarios, but this is the thing that makes us, do the best what we can. And each and every client is a really interesting one, and new practice is a new practice for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So let everybody know the website address and how they reach out to you via email. That way the listeners can contact you if they have more questions or they're looking to expand into the EU marketplace. Go ahead.
Yes, so about our company, everybody can have a look into our website, onestopvat.com. And if you have, I don't know, any concerns, if you have any liabilities or you want to start your sales in European market or any other questions about taxes, you can contact directly me. This is Rūta at onestopvat.com. So you can see, perfectly everything at the bottom of the screen. So I will be really waiting for any response from the listeners, and I really hope that something was new or interesting to hear for all the listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. So those who are listening, it's One Stop VAT. So that's the number one, STOPVAT.com. And Rūta is RUTA at onestopvat.com. So be sure to head her up if you have any, if you're even thinking about expanding into the European market. You don't want to make those mistakes. And she definitely will be able to tell you the right process and what you need to go through to make sure you do it correctly and get your items selling over there. I mean, why not, right? I mean, that it's another great place to expand and make some extra money. Definitely recommend it for any Amazon sellers that are looking to kind of grow their business. Rūta, it was amazing having you on. Thank you so much for all the great information you gave. I learned some new stuff today, 100%, especially about this new, I don't know if they call it a bill, but this new proposal that they have that they're kind of working on. I think that's super cool. I think it would really help a lot of Amazon sellers be able to expand quite a bit faster and get over to that marketplace and really grow that marketplace. And plus, it gives the countries a good chance to collect the taxes they need, right, to be able to grow their infrastructure and all the things you mentioned. So thank you so much for coming on the show. We absolutely appreciate you coming on. And for those who are listening, we appreciate you listening and watching, and be sure to tune into the next one. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Sellernomics podcast. Special thanks to our sponsor, Getida. Did you know that Amazon probably owes you money for FBA reimbursements? Get $400 in free FBA reimbursements at getida.com/Sellernomics. Be sure to join us again next week for more great tips on how to grow your business. And thanks again for listening.